You are now watching ZACIAN, the best place to learn about competitive Pokemon TCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? ZACIAN here. Word up, today we are going to be covering over Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. Now, I've covered this deck on the channel a couple times before, but after testing with my teammates, I feel like this deck's significantly better than the other two that I've posted. I'd say it's the best way to play Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX now. I get a lot of peeps that are like, why are you not playing the deck with the cake? Why are you not playing this deck with, this is the best version with Trevenant Dusknoir, Path to the Peak, Marshadow, whatever. This is the best way to play it. So the list is in the description, you can check it out. And while you're there, check out this new ZACIAN merch shirt. Woo! If you want to pick one up and help support the channel, you can check the link below as well. We also got the Your playmats, so if you want to get a ZACIAN playmat, you can check out the link there. All that good stuff helps support me as a content creator. If you can't necessarily drop some dollars, which I don't expect anyone to do, by the way, feel free to support however much you want to support. You can give this video a like, you can subscribe to the channel. That's a free way to support. Tell your friends, it helps boost the YouTube algorithm. And that being said, let's jump into this deck list to see where I think the best version of Shadow Rider Calyrex is right now. So looking at this deck list to start off, you'd be like, yo, Zach, this looks like almost every other Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX deck. It looks very basic. Why is it so basic? What's going on? Well, it's going to start off with Underworld Door. So once during your turn, you can attach a Psychic Energy card from your hand to one of your bench Psychic Pokes. And then you can attach, if you attach an energy, you just draw 2 cards. So a way to accelerate energy and a way to draw cards. We're not necessarily playing this for max, guys, where it does 10 plus 30 for each Psychic Energy attached to all your Pokemon. More or less, we're powering up Trevenant and Dusknoir, and we're finding ways to get Night Watch off like that. So choose 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals those cards and shuffles them into their deck. So how do we make that happen? We need to get 2 Calyrex V down, because that means next turn we could evolve into 2 Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. So that allows us to double Underworld Door to attach 2 energies, and then we get 1 for our turn. So that's how we have to get there. If we don't get there right away, we can always pause our opponent's setup by a turn to use Horror House GX. And there's also other ways that you could use Horror House GX if your opponent has 1 Pokemon in play. You could threaten to go Horror House GX, they can't do anything, pause, stop, whatever they're doing, pull through guys, hit them for a bunch of cards in their hands. But the goal of the deck is use Night Watch, get that powered up super quickly, and then Path to the Peak your opponent, so their Rule Box Pokemon have no abilities. Remember to understand if they do play Rule Box Pokemon that have abilities, and then hit them with the Marnie, so shuffle their hand to low, and hit them to Night Watch. So they can't use abilities for their Rule Box Pokemon, and you are shuffling their hand back to 2 cards that they don't know what they are. So Marnie's an unknown hand taking away unknown cards. So they're left to 2 cards, 3 cards to start their turn, and then you're hitting them for damage. So that's really the 1, 2, 3 punch that kind of works with this deck. Now, once you continuously use Night Watch, Night Watch, Night Watch, Boss, Night Watch, Night Watch, Night Watch, you could start isolating your opponent's Pokemon. If you didn't use Horror House GX and they have a low hand, you could choose a Pokemon to knock out with Pale Moon, bring it up with Boss's Orders. If they have no cards in their hand, they have no way out. Remember, they can retreat out of this, so do keep that in mind. And once you're building up and doing only the Night Watch strategy, you could either build up a second one, or you can kind of attach extra energies and get a Max Geist built up. Now, I think this list is just really meant to do that. You got reset stamps, so maybe if your opponent's down to 1 prize card left, 2 prize cards left, 3 prize cards left, reset stamp Night Watch might work better than Marnie. Overall, this deck is just very much trying to put your opponent in that toxic cycle of, hey bud, you can't do anything. Now you might be like, yo Zach, Path to the Peak shuts off your own abilities. You forgot about that part. Well, we got double Marshadow to shut off and turn back on our own abilities if we really want to with Resetting Hole, or get around our opponent's stadium that we don't want to see, or other Path to the Peaks, or shutting off our opponent's Chaotic Spell, getting that out of play to drop a Path to the Peak. So you do have the fluid ability to do whatever you want during your turn. Now, a few things that I've seen here, the Galarian Zapdos in this deck, I personally tried it, my fiance tried it. We didn't necessarily, she made top, she came 35th, I believe, at Chill, 36th. Anyways, it's one of those things where she had a successful day with it, but the deck is inherently inconsistent. I went 3-4 drop, yo, that's me, with the double Galarian Zapdos, double Aurora energies. If you are doing a version like that, you probably want to cut Path to the Peak for chaotic swells, and then make the deck as consistent as possible because the Zapdos takes things away. I've seen Island Amulet Challenge in this deck to basically give Trevnor less HP, but it gives up 2 prize cards so you could give your opponent more Pokemon. There's a few strategies and different techs that could be deployed in this deck. I think that this is a very good way of playing this deck right now, because putting your opponent through the Path to the Peak, Trevenant Dusknoir, and then shot and just like literally ripping their hand to shreds is just a viable strategy. So let's jump into some gameplay and I'll show you exactly what this deck can do. This deck's awesome. Again, it is in the description below, so feel free to copy and paste it along as we play through this video. Okay, so we're gonna call a coin flip, and it looks like we hit Azul. We won the coin flip, so we want to go first. Let's see what's going on here. I mean, that's not like terrible. We actually want to start here with the Marshadow, so we can go out there and maybe air balloon it or something. We'll see what Azul's playing. He did get a mulligan, and hopefully that's telling for us. Please don't be dark. Please don't be dark. Okay, so this looks like it's some BLAZIKEN VMAX deck. We should be good here to try to rip their hand up. The Octillery could get through our Night Watch strategy, so we'll have to see what's going on with that. Yes, we'll draw another card. That's a cool card to grab. And there's Passimian. So I'm liking this hand already. Let's go for Fog Crystal. I'm going to go Fog Crystal, search through the deck, make sure we got everything that we want here. I'm going to go like this. And I mean, I think we're pretty well set up for next turn. If there's anything that we want to do, we can get the turn 2 Night Watch off. So I'm going to go ahead here and pass my turn to Azul. So it's crazy when you play these ladder games. I wish I had this planned, but it's just hitting another Players Cup champ randomly on the ladder. I'm sure he's probably streaming. So if you're watching the Azul stream, word up, big fan. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I think we want to just rip his hand to shreds. And we're going to go like this and just power this up, knocking out the Passimian. And just eventually getting that Blaziken down to a point where we can like Oko it or knocking out the Remoraid. So let's go for Underworld Door. Let's power up this. We don't have another energy or anything like that. So that could be a little bit difficult for us to deal with. I'm going to go for Quick Ball here actually. And just see what we want to do. I don't know if I want to go for Marnie. Just want to see what's available. I don't think I want a third Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, but maybe I do, just to power things up. We do have 9 energies left, so we have all of our energies available this game. Maybe I will. I want to keep the bench space. I'm just not going to grab anything. There's nothing I particularly want to discard right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and research. They're already at 4 cards. We need an energy. So that's the reason why we're trying to go for it. Awesome. At this point, I could go Path. That might just be the wave. So I am going to go ahead here. Before I do that, I'm going to go Underworld Door. That makes a lot more sense for me. And you want to, maybe there's just nothing to play Path for in this deck. I am going to go Retreat, sending up Trevnor. And we're going to just start ripping his hand to shreds. Again, I think it's just the Octillery that's going to be getting to it. So there's really no point of me going for that. I am just going to set this up. And I can always bump the Marshadow with my own Path if I need to. So let's go Night Watch, try to rip some of those goods out of his hand. I don't think those were great cards. But we did get out of the Rapid Strike energy. So I'm just going to continuously try to throw this in a blender, ripping cards out of there, and then just building up a board state to see what's going to happen. So there's a Blaziken V. Based off what he has in his hands, I can't, like... You usually get yourself into a game-winning position when they can't do anything, where they just, like, pass. So if he's hitting for 50 damage... Yeah, so now there's going to be 0 cards in his hands. And at this point, I'm okay to just... we're just going to power ourselves up. So we're going to power up one of these so that we're able to get the Max Geist all powered up. The reason why we didn't do Fog Crystal before, if anyone here is wondering that, is so that we have a higher chance of drawing into Psychic Energies. We're not trying to thin things out. We're trying to increase our chances of drawing into Psychic Energies. We don't want to thin them out with the Fog Crystal. So it looks like we have Azul in a complete lock, and I'm going to go after this Pokemon just to put him in a worse lock. So there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, a 7th energy would get a knockouts. That might actually not be bad if we could find a switch. I don't necessarily think I could find a switch without being inefficient. So I'm just going to go for a boss's orders there. There's no reason for me to attach an extra energy. Don't need to worry about the fire spin as far as I'm concerned. So I'm just going to go ahead here and Night Watch, rip Azul's remaining 2 cards out of his hands. So there's a Lightning and an Echoing Horn. So it looks like it's a Blaziken ZERAORA deck. And I mean, it should just be a quick pass. If only we put the Path to the Peak down. The Dedenne was just a huge top deck. But we're still at 4 prize cards remaining. We could knock this out. Like, there's very much a real chance of us just, like, ripping his hand to shreds. And the fact that we got a few Night Watches off, giving us time to build up a Max Geist, gives us a decent bit of time to just, like, take control of this game. So, I mean, I think we're in a great position here, as far as I'm concerned, at least. So there's the Blaziken VMAX. With 11 energies in the deck, we can attach 1, 2, 3, 4 this turn. So we actually cannot get the knockout on the Blaziken VMAX for what it's worth. We can only go for maybe a knockout on the ZERAORA V. That might be the absolute play here. The damage works out really nicely for the Trevnor. So, I mean, our goal is to maybe knock out these 2 Pokemon. There's an Air Balloon. There's a Switch. And I mean, there's 0 cards in hands. So let's try to find a switching card. Let's try to knock this Pokemon out if that's possible. Let's go Underworld Door. Let's power up other Pokemon that can now get powered up. So at this point, I'm just going to double check to see what we have left in this deck. I don't think we need this. We have a boss and we have 4 psychics and we have 3 switch. So I could stop this from retreating. I think the play here is actually going Path to the Peak, and I'm trying to knock that out. So let's go Resetting Hole to give ourselves a bench space so we can use Dedenne. Let's put an Air Balloon onto this Pokemon. And I'm going to go ahead here and put some cards back into our deck so we have access to more cards. I want to have more cards that I could potentially draw into later on in the game. Again, I don't want to feed... what's it called? A deck out for myself. I don't want to potentially lead for poor win conditions. So let's go ahead here for the Dedenne-GX. And we should be able to draw into most things that we want to get. We actually drew into none of the things that we want to get. And this would just completely snipe us out of the game. So they'd hit for 100 and get the knockouts. Now, we'd lose the 3 energies. The 160 on the bench is actually gross. So if I go Night Watch here, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. I put myself in a really awkward situation by drawing absolutely nothing. The bosses and everything is just sad there. Okay, so if I go Pale Moon GX, there's nothing I could do with the Pale Moon GX. I literally just have to take the knockouts and the 160, which is really just like the worst case scenario here for this deck. So that was fun times. Yeah, we just have to go Night Watch. Maybe it would have been better for me to... Yeah, back-to-back top decks. Wow. I mean, that's what it takes sometimes, and if your opponent can get around the Night Watch, that's cool. But when you're not hitting the Underworld doors, it also is not fun either. It's interesting. Maybe I could have gone switch there and just hit for like 210. That might have been better because it would have saved maybe a prize card. I don't want to necessarily get this set up for a knockout either. At least if he goes for the 5 prize card play, we do have Reset Stamp. And that might just be enough for us to jump back into this game. So, really just waiting to see how he plans on doing this. I mean, I think it's more like, I gotta hit the active, there's the 100 damage. We attacked with the Rapid Strike Pokemon last turn. And there's also the Rapid Strike Urshifu V, which is very interesting. So, might just be getting it set up for a win condition. Right now we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 130. So we need to have, that would put it to 280. We need to get 2 more energies next turn. So we need to basically top deck an energy or a card that can get us an energy in order to knock out the Blaziken VMAX and Reset Stamp Azul. There's also no energies in his discard pile yet. There's an energy in his discard pile. So he could go Max Blaze, power up his Rapid Strike Pokemon if he does not want to go for the extra prize cards. And just get this set up to maybe win with Rapid Strike or something similar to that. I think this is really a good turn to be attacking with the ZERAORA V if I ever saw one. So I mean, ZERAORA V might just be able to, he might just be able to get this. Will he go for the 5 prize card turn? And that's knocking out the active and the Dedenne-GX. So we're going to set up the one with free retreats. It's a lot of cards in hands. So we're going to send this up and hopefully we can get an energy. Fog Crystal would have been really good. If you could see like all the different cards that we had that could have got something else, that would have been huge. I'm just going to power up this one at this point. So let's go ahead and go Underworld Door, powering this up. One, two, three, four, 5. So that's 160. So putting us in a really awkward situation. I'm going to go Reset Stamp, putting him to 1 card. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 160. 160 is enough for us to knock out the Rapid Strike Urshifu. I don't necessarily like using the boss's orders like this. I'd like to knock out the active if we ever had the chance, but we do not have the chance. And this gives us a much better chance of just winning the game. So let's go ahead and boss's orders up the Rapid Strike Urshifu. So this game is getting crazy. I'm also not putting Path to the Peak outs. I don't think it's worthwhile. Actually, we have Marshadow. So I don't hate that either. I might just go ahead and do that because we do have access to the Marshadow. So yeah, let's go Path to the Peak. Just double checking through the discard pile. And then we have access to Marshadow. Got it. I'm gonna go like this, grabbing that out to thin the deck a little bit more. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards that we'd like out of our deck. Putting that there, and then I'm going to attack for Max Geist for the knockouts. Putting us down to 2 prize cards. We do have boss's orders in our, we have a 50% chance of getting boss's orders immediately. So there we had decent odds of getting it. Now, maybe I shouldn't have put this down. The boss's orders would kill me. That might be a mistake. I should have maybe kept the quick ball in my hands. So putting the Marshadow down is definitely a mistake because it does give him a potential win con with the Blaziken if he draws into a boss's orders to win the game. Cannot snipe with CrossFit because it's not one of your other Rapid Strike Pokemon. So, it is what it is if we lose because of the Marshadow. And then we brought it down to a win condition. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 160. We're going to give them the well played, and then we're going to take the dub there on the extra energy. And just in case the math is wrong, there's that. So let's go Max Guys for the win, and we were able to take the dub against Azul. Close game, got way too close off those top decks, but this deck does have the power to bring it back, and especially bring that late game reset stamp is huge. Great games, Azul. Okay, so our opponent here is calling the coin flip. We lost the coin flip, that's cool. Let's see, they're going to be going first, that's fine with us. Got no basics here, but that's okay. This hand would have been really awkward with 4 psychic energies, so we can almost count our lucky blessings before the game begins that this is not a real hands. I mean, it sucks to give our opponent extra cards and stuff like that. It also sucks to just like have nothing going on. Going second, I almost want to start with this because it's so juicy, but there's a very good chance if they just start with 1 Pokemon that I'll go for the win anyways, and make the game exciting. We'll see how it goes. What's our opponent going to play down? So they're playing ZACIAN. Is this ADP? Are they going to attach an energy and go Intrepid Sword? Okay. So it would have been better to play the Cherish Ball first for them to check through their deck to see what was missing before playing a Chaotic Swell. But we are playing against an ADP deck. I know firsthand that this matchup can be good for us. So we'll have to just get set up here and start ripping our opponent's energies away. We can also Pale Moon our opponents and stop them from using Intrepid and put them into a Marnie block. So the more that they just like play out of their deck, the better it is for us right now. And if they go for a Mawile, yeah, they're going to get their Gengar Mimikyu down. It's really not that big of a deal for us. And there's their Crobat. So I want them to go ahead, waste all their resources so I could path lock them. I can just go Fog Crystal, really just vibe out. Perfect. So we're going to Marnie them. So Trevnor is actually a good card because we definitely want Trevnor in this matchup. I'm going to attach the energy to the Trevnor. I'm going to go Fog Crystal here. I do think it's worthwhile for me to grab the Marshadow to path to the peak of my opponents. I think that that's really going to stop them. Or actually, maybe I could do that a future turn when I Marty them the next turn. So let's go ahead and grab the Calyrex V. I should have searched through a little bit more, but let's go ahead and go Marnie. Hopefully we can get a playable hand off of this. So, I mean, we can get everything set up for next turn. I think that that's really where we're at, where we could go grab a Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, eventually get out Trevnor, Pale Moon, discard their energies, and then start hitting them with Night Watch, Path to the Peak kind of plays, getting Crobat or Dedenne. So right now, I'm pretty cool with this. They've already played their Mawile, so I'm just going to pass. And they're already down a Dedenne and a Crobat, so I mean, really, if they're using ability, they're using Intrepid Sword, so we didn't necessarily have to stop them this turn. So we'll just see what our opponent can do here. I think we're in a pretty great spot. The only thing that sucks is that we have a Gengar down on our bench that we probably just didn't want to have there. But there's their Dedenne, and they discarded their Rusted Sword. It sucks that they have the Air Balloon on this Pokemon, because they really would have liked it to knock out the Trevenant Dusknoir. That would have been really good for our opponents. But there's their energy. I'm assuming they're just going to retreat and go into an Altered Creation GX. I can only assume at least. We're just waiting here. I don't know if they're like... Okay, there is the Altered Creation GX. They might have been like debating bringing something else up. I'm not entirely sure. So I'm gonna go Quick Ball, discarding Boss's Orders. So I don't know if that matters. Maybe it does. Yeah, for a Marshadow. I think Marshadow is probably the card that I want. Calm this back. And then for the Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. So I'm cool with this. I would really like to play the Path to the Peak down, so getting that in hand is not great. There's no reason for me to play that down yet. I am just going to go Dedenne-GX. There's nothing that's stopping me. So kind of an awkward hand for what it's worth. I am going to go ahead here and just go Underworld Door, powering up this. We did get the switch outs to that Pokemon. We do have access to the Path to the Peak. So we can go Pokemon Communication, this, grabbing a Crobat to continue on with everything that we want. I can put this out in play. So let's go Resetting Hole. I can go Quick Ball, discarding for... Or actually, I should have grabbed the Pokemon Communication for the Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. And then I should have grabbed the Marshadow. That was just me doing the wrong order of cards. Let's go Quick Ball away this. Grabbing... we have the Crobat in our hand, so let's grab nothing. So it would have been nice to have the extra Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. I'm going to switch into the Trevnoir. And then I'm going to do this. Of course, don't Path to the Peak first. So there's an energy. There's a Path to the Peak. And I mean, we could lose the rest of our Path to the Peaks if we really want to. I think it's just going to be a point of the game where we're not going to be able to play them anyways. So our opponent's either going to block them, and then I go Chaotic Swell and have access to no. I'm just going to go ahead and go Research at this point. So it sucks that we're also out of 3 of our switches. Like, we are down a lot of resources, but we need to hope that our opponent does not have a switch here. At the same time, we are just discarding their stadium, their energies. So it sounds like a really good plan here. Because it's going to stop them from using Ultimate Ray while they're under Path to the Peak. So they have to play a switch here to avoid us drawing 3 prize cards. Marnie last turn would have been huge. And I feel like there's, like, I don't know what it is. There's always, it feels like there's like a 90% chance anytime you ever use Pale Moon GX that your opponent just has the switch. And it sucks. But that's seemingly how it works. So our opponent attaching 2 energies. There's a Great Catcher. And they forgot about Path to the Peak. So that's one of the biggest things where you're watching this deck work its magic in real life, real time. They can't do anything, and we just grabbed 3 prize cards. And I mean, our bench is full. It sucks. We got Mawile. There's a bunch of fun things that are probably not too fun that are causing this situation. They did put up what I'd consider like an incorrect Pokemon. At this point, I'm just going to attach here for my turn. And since I have I don't think there's any point of me attacking otherwise. So I'm just going to attach there and pass because they don't have anything. And if they do have anything, they can't retreat. So they'd have to have switch, but they can't get switch energy. So they're on top deck mode. I have a full hand. They do not. It's probably going to be my turn. Unless I drop tech like a research or something. There's another energy. And that's just going to be a pass from me. Because 3 energies in play would be enough for us to get a knockout. We're looking for a switch or an air balloon. So if they just go pass again, there's their energy. They probably don't have access. Oh, what? Why did they not attach their energy last turn? That's so bizarre to me. They could just draw their 4 prize cards if they find a way out of the active. But at that point, that's when we're going to attack with a Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, shutting off our own Path to the Peak, and basically just running our opponent through the deck again. Okay, so we have... actually, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 6 energy. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should be 190. 190 minus 20 should be a knockouts. If anyone here in chat wants to let me know what the damage difference is, we're just going to go air balloon. We're going to go ahead and retreat, sending up this, and we are just going to go for the attack with Max Geist. That should be the knockouts. Now we have boss's orders next turn to win the game. So as much as our deck kind of stumbled under our own path to the peak, and we had a bit of an awkward setup, you can see how path to the peak can just screw up your opponents. Just like, they're going to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to use the Dedenne-GX. You can't use the Dedenne-GX. It sucks. And now we just have boss for game, because they could go 260 there, 260 here. They can knock out this. They could draw their 4 prize cards. But we just have boss game. They'd have to play Marnie and hope that we just cannot get enough energies. It's really just a bad situation for our opponent to be in. And the thing is, let's say if we didn't even have boss, we still have game on our opponent's active Pokemon. And I'll show you how that works as well, just because the boss is slightly less reasonable than just what this deck can normally do. So we have win both ways. So let's send this up. So you can see how Marshadow can also just stop Path to the Peak. Resetting Hole. We could have knocked out a lot of Pokemon that they had in play. Let's go Underworld Door, power this up. Underworld Door. Power this up. And then we could have even attacked with Trevnor if we really wanted to, but we're just going to go ahead here and go Max Geist for the dub. Lots of damage on our opponent's active Pokemon. Like, you could still hit for a lot of damage with Max Geist. So this deck really has it all. And that's what we got going on for this video today. I mean, we've seen how this deck can go from highs, lows, come back in games, be dominant in games, ruin your opponent's hands, and it often brings the game to luck. Now, it sucks to bring the game to luck when you're bringing it on your side of the game. You always want to be playing decks that are secured, you are knowledgeable about your plays. When you're putting your opponent's side to luck and being like, you have a 0-card hands, let's see if you could top deck a Research. Even in the game against Azul, we saw that top decking a Research into Dedenne-GX could only get you so far, and Path to the Peak can even stop your opponent entirely. So I think this deck is awesome. It's one of those things where we're still refining the list, and I'm still working on the list as well. Maybe it's better to play the Galarian Zapdos without Path to the Peak. Maybe Path to the Peak is a win more card. Maybe cards like Wondrous Lab, Island Challenge Amulets, Ordinary, like there's a whole bunch of cards that could work. We'll have to see exactly how that goes. So as we explore, I think we're going to have to test things out. One thing that I want to note, my deck list might have not properly saved. So if I played 4 Path to the Peak, I think it's better to play 3 Path and 1 Ordinary Rod. But for the sake of it, it's probably going to be a minuscule change. So follow the list that's in the description in case there's any discrepancy. That being said, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you thought this deck was toxic. So close to getting 5,000 subs, everyone. Really would appreciate it if we could get there before late July, which is the 1-year anniversary of the channel. And I mean, I appreciate all the love lately. Again, if you like any of the ZACIAN merch, feel free to support me as a content creator. But I really appreciate everyone just loving the content lately. I'm going to go out of this video. Have yourself a great one, and peace out. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's become a channel member. It's one of those things where I appreciate every single person who watches my videos, and I mean, that's really where it counts. But for the channel members, they've gone out of their way to financially support me, and I truly appreciate that gesture. It's one of those things when I started channel memberships up on my channel, and I just didn't know if anyone was ever going to do it, so I truly appreciate everyone taking the plunge, taking a leap of trust, and investing in me as a content creator. Truly makes a difference for me each and every month. If you haven't already thought about becoming a channel member, you might want to contribute to the channel, and I do put everything back into the channel to make it the best possible place to watch for Pokemon TCG content. Again, I truly appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Cheers. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me. And my goal with this channel is to spread my love of the game and knowledge with our entire Pokemon TCG community. If you haven't already, help signal boost this video to other Pokemon TCG fans by liking it, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Hopefully we reach our goals really soon. Check out this recommended video, and have yourself a great day. Thanks.